Good evening once again, and welcome to another edition of Go Tribe here on this section, peer learning section. So, in today's section, we are going to be covering how to identify errors and how to fix them. Errors like Betty error and the compiler error. So, before we get started into identifying errors, I believe every one of us has already installed Betty on their, if you're using your local terminal, like I'm actually operating on the Ubuntu Linux distribution on OS. So if you're working on Windows, we have a video recording on our YouTube channel which you can go through that will guide you on how to probably use Vagrant or just download the Ubuntu software directly from your Microsoft Store. So we have the video here. So you can just go to GoTribe, just search for GoTribe on YouTube. You know our spelling, we are with the Y, GoTribe with the Y. So we have a section on install and use Ubuntu 22.04 from Microsoft Store on your Windows, or you use Vagrant on your Windows OS, whichever one you want to use. So if you are using your local computer, you'll be required to install Betty. But if you are making use of the sandbox, you don't need to install Betty because Betty has already been installed for you by ALX. So you just need to fire on. So for the purpose of those that haven't installed Betty yet, in case they are using their local terminal, mind you, Betty cannot work on your Windows operating system. Okay, Betty cannot run on Git Bash. Okay, it has to be on a Linux operating system. Either you are using the Vagrant, that's the virtual machine, then installing Ubuntu on the virtual machine, or you downloaded the Ubuntu directly from your Microsoft Store. Then there you'll be working directly on the Ubuntu OS. But if you are working on Git Bash from your Windows OS, Betty will never run because I don't know, the founders or the what should I say it? The inventor of Betty did not program Betty to be installed on Windows, but it can be installed on Mac or Linux operating system. So if you want to, I'm sure the guide has been given to you in your first project, that's the Hello World project, but let me just quickly run you through it. You'll be given the first thing from your, sorry I cannot share the intranet right now because it's against the principle of ALX to be sharing their content on any YouTube channel. So I'm just going to walk you through it. So you can just go to your 0x00 Hello World project. That's the first C project. Then under the Betty linter, you will see you are given that you should go to the Betty repo, and which if you click on that repo, it will take you directly to where the repo is. I think it is on their Ubuntu Oberton School GitHub account. So once you're there, all you just need to do is to click on code, then copy the HTTP URL so that you can clone it locally on your system. So just go to your Git Bash, navigate to your user home directory, just press CD from anywhere that you are. It will take you to the user home directory where you see this tilde sign. Mind you, I repeat again, this will not, installing Betty with Git Bash will never work. You need to have, that's if you want to install it locally on your computer and you want to practice C programming, if you want to practice, you want to write some C program so that you can practice on your home locally on your system without using the sandbox. You need to have Ubuntu installed. You can install Ubuntu directly from your Microsoft Store on your Windows, or you use the Vagrant to install the Ubuntu on your system with the aid of the VirtualBox. All right, so all you just need to do is, once you've copied that, you already know how to clone now. Git clone, then paste the what. Okay, sorry about that. Let me recopy, then paste the URL that you just copied from the repo here. So paste. So this will, okay, I've already installed Betty here, but let me just delete it so that we can just start it all over again. All right, so I'm just going to remove that Betty directory. So give me a minute. Let me just remove Betty from here every time. So, all right. So now I can clone it again. So we'll just walk through the installation process together all over again. I already have Betty installed, so I've deleted the repo so that it was showing me error that the repo already exists. So it just depending on your internet connection, this shouldn't take too long. I don't know, my network is a bit slow. Don't know why. So just bear with me while this finish cloning. So after this has been cloned on your local computer, that's on your terminal, that's on your user home directory, all you just need to do is to navigate into the Betty directory that was just, or let me just call it repo, the Betty repo that was just cloned on your terminal. This thing is taking a little bit too long. Pardon my network. You're welcome. If you're just joining, you've not missed a lot. Okay, so for you to confirm, you can just use the ls command to list the content of the directory. I have so many contents here. So here we have Betty here. So you need to navigate into the Betty before you can do anything. So now I'm inside the Betty directory. You can see that's the Betty repo. So now we need to install the linter with the sudo command. That means this sudo means you are trying to install this software or program, let me just call it program, as a temporary user. That's the way you install this is the command to install any package, any software. You need to always install as a temporary user using the sudo command. So you need to just run even before you go through, you can see if I should list the content of this, you will see something like install.sh. This is a script that is going to run. I'm sure you already know about bash scripts now. Inside this script is where they programmed it to install Betty on your computer. So you just need to run sudo /. You know, this is an executable file. You use this /, then followed by the script. So it's going to prompt you for password. So you enter the password of your system. So I've entered that. So it won't take too long to install. Now you see what? All set. So the next thing we need to they give us a script to copy and paste, okay, inside a new file called Betty. So we need to create a new file called Betty. So you can use VI or Emacs to create the file, then insert the content that was provided for you inside your intranet. So I'm just going to go to my document. I already copied it here so that I won't have to display the content of the intranet. Okay, this is not what I want to copy. That's weird. Sorry about that. Okay, I cannot Ctrl Z, Ctrl C, paste. Okay, yeah. So this is the content. This is the script that you are asked to copy and paste inside the file called VI. You will still have to be inside the Betty directory. Okay, once you are done, you can then escape, then :X or :W key to save this file and its content and to quit out of the VI interface. Okay, once you are done, once you saved it, you need to change the permission. You already know about share permission. For now, if I should list the content, you can see this Betty is just an ordinary file. You know, if I should sorry, I'm navigating a lot. ls Betty, in order to see the permission that was set, you can see there is no executable permission set on this Betty file. Okay, we need to give it an executable permission so that anybody can be able to execute the file. That's the next process. So chmod a+x. So I'm giving all the users right to execute this Betty file. All right, so if I should list this again, I will have X on the owner, the group, and what others. All right, so the next step is now to move this Betty file, this script. You know, now this is a script. This Betty file is a script. That's why we are giving it the right to be executable, so that the script that was pasted inside the file can be run anytime it is being called. All right, so now we need to move that Betty file into the binary directory. You know, binary directory is where you have all your program, all the script of every software on your computer. That's where it is being run. Any software you open, it is being triggered from the script file inside the binary directory. I don't want to go too much into that in details. So we need to move this. So MB, no. Now if you are moving it into that binary directory is a very sensitive directory. Okay, we need to also use the sudo command as a temporary user. Okay, as a super user rather, not sorry about that. I keep saying temporary user, as a super user. All right, so we use the sudo mv, which mv is to move. We want to move the Betty into what /bin/. This bin is present in the slash, in the path. That's the root part of our system. So if you should do this, if you should list the content of this file, of this directory again, you can't find Betty here anymore. It has been moved to this place. All right, so the next thing now is now we've successfully set up Betty. Now for us to know that Betty is running, we need to create a very simple C file, and you already know what Betty linter does, right? You already know what Betty linter does. Betty linter is just a way to, that's like the closest way of writing a good C program. That's like this the closest syntax of writing a good and readable C program. All right, so let's just dive into the topic of today. So identifying, there are some errors, there are some, even if you go back to this Betty repo, go to the readme section, not readme section rather, go to wiki. Okay, click on wiki on the Betty repo, just click on wiki. You will see some information. That's where the documentation of Betty is. Everything you need to, you can read more about the Betty usage, the Betty docs. We have the Betty style and the Betty documentation. The Betty coding, I always call it Betty coding style and Betty documentation style. Okay, so Betty always asks you to document your program, your C program. Documentation, what I mean by document is writing comments. Okay, so that any programmer or any developer that is going through your code will be able to know that, oh, this is what this program is doing, this is what this program is doing, this is what this parameter is for, this is what this function is doing. All right, so that's what I mean by comment or documentation. But for the coding, there are so many things involved: the coding, the indentation, the naming, and the likes of them. So we are going to treat every those what should I call it, the frequently errors that is being encountered by mostly ALX students as far as Betty is concerned. That's what we are going to treat here. So I'm just going to navigate back here. Let me go to my practice document, learning ALX practice. So let me just see the debugging. Do I have any directory called debugging here? No. Let me just make a directory called debugging so we can debugging. We can start. I hope I'm still on the call, and I hope I'm not going too fast. Please confirm if I'm still on the call and you guys are following me.
You are.
All right. Thank you very much. So now I'm going to take this very slow. I just quickly rushed out to set up Betty on your local computer as far as you are using the Ubuntu operating system. All right. So now we are going to go about identifying what Betty errors. All right. Okay. Before now, I'm supposed to actually have done some little mistake on some files, but let me just create a file, pi sample.c. I'm going to be explaining everything. So I want to okay, let me just create a simple C program that is going to include, that is going to print some things to the standard output. Okay, so in main, I'm just going to use the main program. All right. Okay, for you to understand Betty errors, I'm going to intentionally do some errors, those frequently encountered errors. I'm going to intentionally set it down so that we can see it and then resolve those Betty errors. Then later on, we are now going to move to the compiler error. Betty error is different from the compiler error. Okay, what Betty will sense as error, compiler will not sense it as what error. Yeah, and vice versa. All right. So let me just say this is a simple program to print. Let me just say welcome to Code Tribe. Sorry, welcome to Code Tribe, then followed by a new line. Okay, let me just leave it like that and then do this. And let me just have it to what, to return 0. Okay, because this is an what, integer what function. All right, so I'm just going to add the documentation here. So how do we set documentation? So slash asterisk asterisk. So asterisk, let me just add some few this thing here. Sorry about that. Okay, I think that should be enough. So I'm just going to call this, let me just do this. I'm intentionally putting some errors here. This is a, sorry, what is my program? This is a program that prints certain text to the standard output. Okay, using the printf function. Okay, I have my reason for having it this very long. Okay, so now I'm okay. Let me just have something here. Okay, so let me just call this return, or let me just say always 0 for success. All right. Okay, I'm going to set some other errors here. Okay, so pardon me, let me just set some errors real quick. I think that's about it. So let's save this file. So in order for you to use Betty to check if you follow the right syntax of a C programming language, all you just need to do is just to run the Betty, then followed by the name of the file. If Betty is correctly installed on your system, this will show some things. Whoa, wonderful. I like that we have some errors here. Okay, let me reduce this font a bit. Okay, now in order for you can see these are what you have errors, you have what warnings. All right, so they are all still categorized as what bugs. All right, so in order for you to read this very first line, now this is the name of the file where the error is coming from, and this number you have here is the line number of what the specific error is coming from, and the error is titled what, trailing white space. The next one too is still on the same line 2 in the same file. We have a warning that says what, please no space at the start of the line. We are going to treat this one after the other. Okay, so probably let me just open another terminal so that I will not get rid of that. So let me increase this back. So let's vi into the file back here. So now let's take it one after the other. Now what trailing white space means is that where there is a space ahead of the last character, like for any C program, the last character on any line must be a non-white space character. I hope you understand it. That means what I'm trying to say in essence is that spaces must not end any line. You must not use a space to end as the last character of any line. Okay, let's go to this line 2. Now, once you've opened up your file using the VI, if you're using VI like me, so now before you go to the insert mode, you can use your cursor to navigate back. You can use your cursor to navigate as well. Okay, now, or you go to the insert mode. If you look at this line 2, just press the insert mode. You can see if your cursor moves ahead, this line 2, there's nothing here, right? That means your cursor must always remain at the start of the line. But watch when I move a bit forward, you can see my cursor is moving forward left and right. That means there is a trailing white space here. That means I'm using a space to end this line, which means this line is supposed to be empty. Nothing must appear on this line, but there is a space there. That's why it is showing the trailing white space. And again, for that same line, it says that please no spaces at the start of a line. Now, for C program, for you to obey the Betty style, you must not use spaces to start any line. Okay, you must not use a space to start a line, except for the documentation. I'm going to explain what I mean in this aspect. Okay, you must not use a space to start a line. Okay, you can see here a space is starting the line and a space is ending the line. That's why it's showing both trailing white space error and the please no space at the start of the line warning. So to get it, or just press backspace. Make sure your cursor is not moving left and right. Just test it. This is the tone I get when I try to access what I cannot access. I'm trying to move forward, but it's telling me that I can't move forward. That's why you can hear the tone of my system that says I cannot move further than where it is blinking. So we've already solved these two errors and warning on line 2. So going to the next line, at line 4, right? This says that line over 80 characters. Now, also Betty has a rule that says that every character on any line must not be greater than 80. Must not be greater than 80. It can be less than or equal to 80, but must not be greater than 80. Even here at this line 4, you are given the count of that very line is 106. So going to our VI interface, on this line 4, you can, even if you are observant enough on this VI interface, look at this where I just highlighted. This is showing that this is the line. I'm on line 4, and this is the position of the character. The position where I am presently, I'm at character 8. Okay, if I should move this to the very last one, it should give us 106, which is very correct according to this error. So you can use your VI interface to sense the number of characters you have on a particular line. So for us to get rid of this, so you can just move the cursor to a reasonable length. You can see that means at this very point. Okay, let me just move to standard. Okay, at this very point is on 65. I have 65 characters at this very point, so I can just press enter to move to the next line. Now once you press enter, once you press enter, you just move it to the next line. But I don't know, there's something with my VI. Once you press enter like that, it's supposed to automatically reproduce this asterisk before the start of the text. But let's just leave it like that. So we are going to use Betty to check again whether we've successfully fixed those errors. So now on line 4, how many characters do I have? I have just 65 characters. Now mind you, this thing is still going to throw an error. Can someone tell me why? This line 4, there is still an error on this line 4. I'm going to give you an hint. Look at where my cursor is blinking. What is happening there?
There's a white space after the.
Thank you very much. Yeah, there's a space after the last character, which is E. You can see my cursor is blinking ahead of you can see this space. There's a space here, right? So I need to go to get rid of that space, because if we should use Betty, it's going to throw us this same error, an error at line 4 again. There's a trailing white space. Okay, so let's go on. Thank you very much for that. So at line 6 and line 9, it is trailing white space. I guess we already know what a trailing white space is. So what should we do at line 6? Where is the trailing white space at line 6? Anybody? Okay. We have a trailing white space at line 6 and line 9. This is line 9. This is line 6. I don't know why this thing is showing as trailing white space, but let's get rid of it. At line, okay, sorry, don't let us get rid of it. Let me bring it back. All right. At line 6, it's telling us that there's a trailing white space here, which I can't find any. There's only asterisk here. Is there something wrong somewhere? Is there something I'm not doing right? Don't worry, we'll come back to that. Even at line 9, there is no kind of white space ahead of what this last character. What I was expecting was something else, but it's still showing this trailing white space error at line 6. Okay, I know why. This was the issue. Remember, I moved this line. This line wasn't there before. You know, this line was part of line 4, right? This line 5 was, if you should remember, this line 5 was part of line 4. So it has already rearranged. So we need to run Betty check again. So let me just save this file so that we'll know that, so that we'll get the correct line error. Okay, I hope you guys understand what I mean. So let me use :W to save it. I don't want to quit out of here. So I've saved it. Let's run Betty on this again. So if we should run Betty on this again, we shouldn't get error on line 2 and what? These 3 errors, we shouldn't get them because we already successfully fixed them. So Betty sample.c. So we can see there is no more error on on line 2 and and line 4. Now the error is starting from line 7 and line 10. Okay. The reason why I'm having this 6 and 9, I couldn't figure out what this 6 and 9 was because I moved a line. I break one line into 2 because of it was over 80 characters. Now it has now moved to line 7 and line 10. So what is at line 7? Now we are talking. So at line 7, there's a trailing white space. Where is the trailing white space? Anybody? Someone should. Okay, I should move to the end. Okay, yeah, this is where the trailing white space is. You can see this is where the space is. So I need to remove this space, right? And also at line 10, you can see it's moving left and right on line 10. I need to remove the space. Now, if you should see any error on trailing white space, you know how to fix it. Even if you should see error on your line is over 80 characters, you know how to fix that as well. So let's move on. We've already done line 7 and line 10. Line 10 is also showing that no space at the start of the line because it is an empty line where we just put a space. So a space is starting it and also a space is ending it. Is a combo stuff. All right. So the next thing is now at line 11. They said int main should probably be int main void. Now, do you know that if you should run this program with the GCC compiler, it will work even without us specifying void inside inside this parentheses as a parameter for main. But what Betty is saying, there's a rule for Betty is if you are declaring a function with no parameter, you should always pass in void as the parameter name. Void means it is empty. I repeat, if you are declaring a variable that has no parameter, that means it has nothing inside the parentheses. You should declare void as the parameter, which means that it has no parameter. So we have to pass in void inside here. Even from the error, it gave us a suggestion that this int main should probably be int main void. Okay. Now at line 15, they said trailing white space and please no space at the start of the line. Where is line 15? Okay, let's see. Now this is line 15. Very good. This is where I want to talk about indentation. Okay, I'm supposed to get another error, but this is not the kind of error I wanted to get, but probably it's still correct. Now this is what I mean by what this is what they mean by what indentation. Anywhere you hear indentation, you are trying to move, you are trying to indent your code in a specific what order. Now for you to obey Betty, the indentation must be set by using what? Tab. Tab is different from spaces. You can see even though this line 13 and this what line 15, they are aligned vertically. You can see they are indented correctly, but the way at which the indentation was made is wrong. Okay, this one was indented by tab and this one was indented by spaces, even though they are aligned vertically. Okay, this is what I mean. On line 13, if I should move one step back, it is going to jump to the start of the line. One step forward is jumping to the first character on that line. One step back, one step forward, one step back, one step forward. You can see that's indentation with tab. But on line 15, if I should move one step back, it's going to go just behind the word, the start, the first character. You can see it's moving 1, 2, 3, 4 before it gets towards to the first character of that line. So this one was being indented by spaces. That is where we get this what? This warning that what? No spaces at the start of the line. Like I said, any line in a C program, if you want to obey Betty, must not start with what? A space. Okay, must not start with a space. Okay, I hope that is clear. If you want to indent, you have to indent with what? With tab. So let's get rid of these spaces. Let me move this. Okay, I've already moved it back. Okay, yeah, I'm back to the start of the line. All you just need to do is just to press what? Tab. You can see pressing tab makes it what? To align vertically together. With, you can see is I've now used tab. We are not done with that line 15. On this same line 15, we have what? A trailing white space. You already know what is trailing white spaces, so I'll just get rid of it. So I have some spaces here. This one is not even 1, it's about 2. So get rid of the 2, so I cannot move further on this. So I'm done with what? All the errors and warnings. So let me save this file again and see how far we've gone. So Control colon W is to save without quitting. So let me run my Betty on this again. So Betty sample.c. So we've gotten rid of all these errors and warning. Now we are now on the aspect of the documentation aspect. Now on line 4, they said what? Warning, missing initial short description. On line 4, missing initial short description. Now anywhere you see this kind of error, means that what? There is no description for your function that you have in that file. Now when you are describing your function, the name of your function must rhyme with what? The name of what? The function you have here. They must what? They must be the same. Like if you have lower cases, it must all be in lower cases. If you have upper cases, they must all be in what? Upper case. You can see the main here is what? Is starting with small letter m, but I put what? Capital letter M here. That's why it's showing this error that what? Missing initial what? Short description. That's what the no, that's not actually it. Yeah, but missing initial short description means that what? There is no what? Description for your what? For your function that you have inside this file. And the reason is because what? This and what? The case sensitivity does not what? Rhyme. Capital letter M is not the same thing as small letter m. So in order to correct that, we just need to what? To change this one to what? To small letter what? M. Now I made, okay, and I've not yet what? Press insert. What's your problem? All right, now we are almost done. Now still on this line 4, okay, there is also another error. Okay, there is also another error, but I'm going to skip that for now. So let's go back to our errors page. So we've already, let's see whether that was actually what is prompting that error on what? On line 4. So let's solve it one after the other. Let's press escape colon W to save. Let me go back to the warning and then run the Betty check on this again. Oh, okay. That was another warning. That was my bad. That was this warning. This warning has left. No description found from the main function. That was what I actually solved. Missing short initial description means that what this is where the error is coming from. The way we describe what our function is wrong. We don't describe using colon. When you are describing the function inside a file, you don't use colon. You use what? You use hyphen, not colon. When you are describing the main function. Okay. But for the one that the sensitivity of the letters must always rhyme is the one that says that no description found for the function main. Okay, no description found for the function main. You can see main in lower cases is different from the capitalized main that I have here initially. Okay, so in order for us to actually get rid of this, so when you are describing your function, you only describe it with hyphen, not colon. But when you are describing any other thing else apart from the function, when you are describing the return or the parameters that you have in the function, you use you use colon. Okay, when I mean parameters, you know what I mean by parameters. Don't worry, we are going to take another example when we enter the compiler error. Okay, so that is that. So let me save this file again and then run my Betty check on this same file. You can see I've gotten rid of this error on line 4 and also this error on line 11. I repeat, when you are describing a function, when you are describing a function in your comment, always make sure that the name of the function is exactly the name of the function you specify. And also the description has to be with colon. You can decide to put space. You can decide to merge it together like this. Even though you put space here, it's still going to, this one is just making it more readable, kind of. It's not going to throw this. Let me save it. I've already saved it. Let me run the Betty check again. It's not going to throw an error for that line 4, whether there's a space in between the name of the function and the hyphen or not. All you just have to do is make sure that the name is the same and it is followed by hyphen before any other text that is here. This text, it can be anything. Betty does not Betty doesn't have any business to do with the kind of description you give to your function, whether it is correct or it is wrong. Betty will all what Betty wants is this syntax, the name of the function followed by hyphen. So that said, let's move on. On line 5, we have a warning that said that bad line. This is the one I was trying to figure out. That other time when we pushed this, okay, it said bad line, standard output using printf. That's the reason is because any line in your documentation must start with asterisk. Any line in your documentation, that's in your comment, must always start with asterisk. And how to document, the first line must have double asterisk. You have the / double asterisk. Then on the next line is where you start with your description. So for every line, your asterisk must be in line with with the first asterisk, just the way it is like this. Okay, so the reason why we have the bad line on line 5 is because there is no asterisk here. So all you just need to put is to put asterisk. You can decide to put space. You can decide to remove the space. It doesn't concern, but it doesn't really matter. This one is just to make it more readable and it's looking really nice like this. So in order to fix that, all you just need to do is just to add asterisk here. It's because there's no asterisk, so Betty was not able to send that this particular line is part of the comment. Just make sure that when you are starting a comment, this is the syntax to write a comment, as long as Betty is concerned. As long as ALX is concerned, because ALX is adapting the Betty star rule. Okay, so that is just to fix this particular error at line 5. So if I should run Betty again, sorry, I have not saved the file. So escape : W to save. So let me go back to the other tab that has this. So I've gotten rid of the warning of what on line 5. Now the last warning is what no description found for return value of what of the main function. Now another important warning. You know, I said that what when you are describing the function, the name must always be the same. But when you are describing the return must always be what? Be capitalized. What I mean by capitalized is the first character must always be in what? In capital letter. I repeat, the return that you have here inside the function, the return statement is always in what? In lower cases. The return keyword rather is always in lower cases. But when you want to use return in comment in the documentation, in the comment section, as long as Betty is concerned, you must always put it in what? In uppercase. This must, the first character, that's the R, must always be what? Be in uppercase. That means the word return must always be capitalized in the comment section. And what? This, it must always be followed by what? Colon, not hyphen. If I should save this and what we want, Betty is going to throw another error, the same error, because what? This is not the right way to what? To write a description for what? For return. So let's even experiment that. So escape :W. Let me go back here and then run Betty again. I still have the same what? The same warning on that particular line with the same what? Warning type. That what? No description found for what? Return value. Even though we've already used capital uppercase. Okay. So now we need to what? Your return must always be followed by what? Colon. Okay, must always be followed by colon, not hyphen. Is the only case where you have to use hyphen is where you are describing what? The function. Every other case must always use what? Colon. And for the return keyword must always be what? Be capitalized. So now if we should save this now and then go back to Betty and then do this, you can see there's no more warning. It's just what? The name of the function. That means this is all set. You can see my terminal is even smiley that what? There is no more error. Okay, it's just the way I set my terminal. So it will bring out, it pop up this sad face when there's an error, and it will pop up this what? This smiley face when everything is what? Is good. It was after I ran this, it now pop up the smiley face that what? Everything is all good. Okay, so now we've successfully what? Identified some errors in Betty and what? And how to fix them. Yeah. So question time. Let me take your questions.
Yeah, please, I have a question.
Okay.
This okay, I think we should go back to that file.
Okay.
It's on
Let's
the
go back to
file.
our program.
Okay. This comment section.
Yeah.
Is after the main, the return, and all of that, this statement, is it case sensitive? I noticed that most times people always start with capital letter.
Which one?
Does it matter whether you start with capital letter or small letter? Like this always.
Okay, this one.
This.
What you have here, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't concern
Okay,
Betty. Anything you have Betty, it doesn't concern Betty. Even though you abuse Betty, I'm not. You can say, don't write this as a description for a return, but I just want to prove something here. Betty is not nice. Okay, let's just put it like that. Yeah. Betty is not nice. So it doesn't concern Betty what you have here. All it wants is just what? The way you describe what you are describing. That's this other part. The return must be capitalized and followed by what? Colon. The main must be the same what? The same character case that you have here, followed by what? Hyphen. So if I should run Betty on this again, Betty will still allow me to go because well, it doesn't concern Betty what I have in front of here. Okay, I guess that's answer your question. So any other question? But
yeah, thank you.
In a real sense, don't try this. So let me change it back to let me change it
No,
back to
I can test now.
Always zero for success. Let me. So any other question?
Yes, please. I have a question.
Okay.
Suggestion.
Yeah.
Okay, please. Is it possible for you to show us how to how to write the script to help us to always run the Betty stuff automatically, because it really takes a lot of time. Like, it's very, very annoying when you have finished everything and then you still have trailing white spaces that you cannot see. And I
Okay, I
saw a
think I
video
understand. I
like,
understand what you're trying to say. Right from your VI interface, the Betty errors will be identified for you before you save the content inside the file, before you save and quit out of the file. Right? Is that what you're saying?
no, no, no. What I'm saying is that um I saw a video,
Yeah.
I think from your channel,
Okay.
about how to create a script, right?
Yeah.
To run Betty automatically, so that all these adjustments that were done manually will be done by the script. So I was hoping if you could show
Oh,
us how
I'm
to
not
do
sure
that script.
if that was from our channel. Our
Oh,
channel name is Code Tribe, or probably you got it from the founder of Code Tribe, which is Topman. But I'm not sure if
mm.
no, it's not from
So
this channel. But I will. Are you on the WhatsApp group? Probably I will get back to you
yes,
on that. That's the Code Tribe of Junior 12, right?
yes, I am.
Okay, I'll
Yes.
get back to you on that. If there is any video like that, I'll just refer you to that video. And
All right. Thank you so much.
if you have any blocker, if you have any blocker on the way, you can then contact any of the admin, even me, in order to set it up.
Oh, on
That's
WhatsApp.
if there's
I
something like
will.
that. But I will help you to make a research on findings on that.
All right.
So
Thank you so
yeah.
much.
Any other question?
Yes, sir. Please, I want to clarify me the difference between this return on the comment section and then this other return that we have at the end of the code. So we'll
This
have
this
return
return here and
zero.
this return here,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
The return at line 7 and the return at line 15. Okay, this is just a comment that is describing what you have inside, what the program you've written. This return here is totally different from what this return here. This one is a keyword, okay, that is used to what, to identify what the value that is being generated by the program, depending on what the data type that you specify, the data type that is used to that you use in declaring your function. The data type here is integer. Definitely we are going to return an integer value. We are returning 0 just to signify what success. Okay, you can return any integer value here in any program, depending on what's the kind of program you are writing. And this return here, okay, and this return inside this program also signify what, the end of what, execution of any program. And it comes with what, a value, depending on the type of what, the return type. So the return inside this program, inside this code block, means that what, this is, you've gotten to the end of what, of the execution of what, of the code block, and you are being given a value out. But this return that you have here is just a description for what, for the return that you have inside your program. If your program does not have a return value or a return statement or the return keyword, there's no need for you to put return inside your what, your comment section, inside your documentation. But as long as Betty is concerned, you must always use an upper capitalized what, return word, followed by what, colon. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay, so you can have some other cases where you have a function that doesn't have a return type. Definitely there will be no return statement, then you don't need to include this. Even though you include it, Betty will not still throw any kind of error because you obeyed it. Like for instance, all I'm saying in Xsense is, let's remove this line 15. We don't have a return value, but escape dd. All right, but we still have this return inside our what, documentation. So let me save this and then go back and then run Betty. It's still not going to throw an error because what, we obeyed what, the syntax of what, of how to write a documentation, as long as Betty is concerned. Okay, but in a real sense, you don't want to do. What's your problem? You don't want to do that. Okay, any other question before we move to the compiler error? We spent an hour
Okay, this
already.
return,
Yeah,
this last return,
yeah,
I've always wondered since when you return zero, most
yes.
times it's to signify success. Is it that you can return any other number if it is error? Because
Uh,
I don't think I've seen you return 4 or return 5. Is it
okay.
that you return -1 or 1 or
It
something?
depends on what the question says. You can have some question and be like, okay, they want you to return 1 for this specific program. You just put 1 there. Probably the exit
Okay, but
code is,
uh,
yeah,
okay, continue. I don't know. Sure.
okay. So you can return any value depending on your program, the way you want your program to be. Okay, you can have a situation whereby you write a function whereby you want to return probably a function that adds 2 integer. You want to return the sum of those integer. That means those integer can be random integers, right? In that case, you are not returning
Okay.
because you want to specify that this is success or this is failure. You are just returning what the product, the output of what the program is doing, so that it can be used in another. Don't worry, I will go into that. I will explain it when I enter the compiler. Probably I'll use that function that has 2 integer in order to explain the compiler errors.
Okay, another thing is, now we are really still within the confines of question and all of that.
Yeah.
But in the real world, in the real programming world,
Okay.
when maybe if you have a client, the client will not give you questions to answer. It's you that would think and generate questions. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're getting what I'm
You
saying. You
you
that
I
think,
understand what
generate
you're
questions
I
to tell
understand what you're saying. It's you just have to
because
like,
when I
okay, the client will just say, okay, design, write or develop a website for me or build a website for me. So it's not left for you to determine the kind of logic that will suit the functionality that what the client wants. Okay,
okay,
so it's not left to you that will, okay, this is what will fit this is the client doesn't know your code. The client will not be showing your client code. What the client want to see is results, the end product. Like probably a client asks you to what, to give me a program that is going to add 2 integers for me. The client does not have business to do it, whether the program is, whether the kind of code, the way you write the code, whether the code is 1000 lines. It doesn't concern the client. All the client want to say is, if I should input 2 integers, will he add it for me, and will I get the summation of those 2 integers?
so
Yes, you get it now.
ah, okay, yes,
But don't worry, it is, you are just starting. Don't worry, it will really get interesting along the line once you get to that
ah,
application aspect, when you start
it's
applying it in the real world.
very interesting. What's happening now?
Yeah. Okay. So
Hmm,
so thank you very
interesting.
much for the questions. So I believe we can proceed. Let me check the even whether I have any comments in the chat box. Oh, hi. Suleiman, are you here? How are you? Okay. So now we've identified what Betty errors. Okay, we've identified you can encounter some other errors. There are many other errors, so it's not limited to the errors that we just solved here. You can have other errors that might be foreign to you. Just make sure to make research or contact your press or even one of us. Okay, we can't treat everything. Okay, but these are the frequently errors. These are the commonly errors that people encounter as long as Betty is concerned. Okay, so now,
Betty is discovered.
yeah, Betty is also stubborn. Don't worry, let's make this thing more complex. Okay, let me use another file. I don't want to use the same example for the compiler error. All right, why do I have it on here? Okay, so let's write a function. Okay, add.c. Okay, I think I have those functions. Yes. Okay, let me use sorry about that. Excuse me. I want to use this one of your tasks, probably under the functions, in order to explain the compiler error. And as well, I don't want to display the content of the intranet in this video because we are going to put it up on YouTube. But if my memory serves me right, I should be able to figure out the question. Just give me a minute, okay? One of the questions that deals with underscore butcher. Okay. Coming up. Sorry guys. I'm trying to look for. Okay, it is still under the same. Okay, so I'm going to use one of your example under the function that says, so I'm just going to have a file. Let me just use a file called alphabet. So we are going to be treating the compiler error now. So let me just create another file. So let me just say alphabet.c. So you were given a task from ALX, okay, and inside the task you were asked to, let me just use let me just document the question here. Okay, why do I keep doing this? Sorry. Okay, yeah, I don't know why my own this thing does automatically write that. So let me just put here function name. We don't know the name of the function yet, so but the program is such that we're asked to write a function. Okay, write a function that prints the alphabet in lower cases. Okay, that print the alphabet in lowercase, followed by a new line. Okay, sweet. Now you can, if you should look at this, I have 97. Okay, I can decide to break this into. Let me just remove this and then put this on the bottom and then do this. Okay, now on this line I should have about, let me see if this is okay, 73. So I've already obeyed the Betty here. Okay, so this
So
is
Ben, look sharp and prepare.
please mute your mic. Kindly mute your mic. Okay, thank you very much. All right. So now this is a question we want to use to identify what the compiler error. Okay, you are asked to write a program, a function that prints the alphabet in lowercase followed by a new line. You understand the way I broke this thing down, because this thing was actually longer than what we don't want to encounter any kind of Betty error. Okay, we don't know the name of the function yet. That's why I just put function name here so that I will just write the question for you. So now, and they asked us to use an underscore butcher function. They asked us to use the underscore butcher function, and you were given, okay, and okay, let's just start with this. Okay, so now this is the prototype of the function you were given. Let's say you are given the prototype of the function to be void print underscore alphabet. Print underscore alphabet. It doesn't have any parameter, so I'm just going to specify void inside here. Okay, so inside this, I want to write a function that prints the alphabet in lower cases. I don't want to start explaining this program, but what the scope of this is just to identify some errors. All right, some errors, but I will just take it as slow as possible. So since we are printing alphabet, and you know in lower cases alphabet starts from A, right? So we need to actually initialize the start of it. That's, we need to declare a variable that is going to start from somewhere. So let's call the variable. Since we are dealing with character, you can actually use integer depending on what, depending on if you are going to be use the ASCII table conversion format. So I'm just going to say letter. Let me just declare a variable called letter, and I'm going to initialize it inside the what, the for loop. Okay, for letter is equal to character A. Sorry, this should be this, but let me just put this error. So letter is less than or equal to Z, then letter plus plus. I'm trying to, okay, so inside this I want to use a function called underscore butcher, okay, which is going to print letter for us, then followed by a new line. So I'm just going to use the underscore butcher again to print the new line. Let me try to put some errors here. So I'll just explain some things for you so you understand clearly. This is okay, this is a void function, so I don't need to put a return statement. So now let's go to the documentation. So we don't even need anything else. So let me get rid of some lines and then probably change this one to what, the name of the function, which is what, print alphabet. Oh shit. Okay. Sorry about that. So print, I don't know why this thing did not actually help me to complete this. Okay, print alphabet, that's the name of the function. So now I'm done with this. So now I'm done with this. So I've written, let me just cut the file out. So this function is actually, what this function is doing is what, is printing the what, the alphabet in lower cases, but I'm using a function called what, underscore butcher, right? So let me just do this. Now also in that task, you'll be given a box where they display the content of a main.c file, right? Inside the main.c file, you were given something, okay, and they display the content. Probably, let me just share the intranet. I'm going to cut this out, but for those watching this video, probably just follow my voice. So I'm going to display the content of the intranet. I'm going to cut it out. There's an evaluation quiz, damn it. Don't worry about it, probably later on. But I hope you understand what I'm saying. You'll be given a box whereby they display the content of a main.c file. And that main.c file, you were given something inside the main.c file. I'm supposed to have copied this, but let me see if I can copy it here and send it to my WhatsApp. Please give me a minute. I don't want to start writing again. Yes. So where am I? Okay. Just see. Nope, not you. So paste. So I hope you guys are following. So inside that example, that box below the tags, you'll be given something like cat main.c, and this is the content of that what main.c file. You just need to copy it and paste it in a file called what main.c inside the same directory where you have your your function. And the essence of this, let me use this one too. Let me escape out of here. at the essence of this, if you should look at this now, the only file that you need is this what alphabet.c. Inside this alphabet.c, you know, okay, we are not actually done. Before I go to the main.c, we also need a header file called what main.h, where we will add what the prototype of all the functions and what the prototype of the what underscore pucha function that was being used inside this what inside this file. So inside here, and mind you, have you heard of what EtherGuard? EtherGuard, have you guys heard of EtherGuard? I hope I'm still in the call.
I haven't heard of it.
You've not heard of EtherGuard?
No.
Are you sure? That's hash if ndef.
Oh, okay. That was the call that guy.
Yeah, if not defined. Yeah, this is EtherGuard. If not defined, then what? Then you defined it. Then you end the if statement. This one is just to say that what if this header file is not define it for us. And the name you are going to specify as the name of this header file in front of this if not def is going to be a unique name. Make sure that it is not a keyword of the C program language. Okay, so in order for you to uniquely set this, you can just write it like this. I'm sure this is the format they always give you. This is the format I always use. The name can be anything really, but we are just by convention just make sure that it is rhyming with the name of the header file main.h. Okay, you can decide to use dog_h or anything. Just make sure that it is unique and it is not a keyword. So in between this, that's where you have the prototype of the functions that you use. I think the prototype of our function was void print underscore alphabet in bracket void bar, then end it with a semicolon. Then also, since we use underscore pucha, okay, let me save this for now. Inside this, we use underscore pucha function. We also need to add the prototype of the underscore pucha function. So let me go and fetch out that one. Probably it is still part of this repo. Let me just search for underscore pucha in this particular repo. Ew, not in this repo. It is actually in this. Oh, not in this repo. Underscore pucha. Underscore put. Why are you not doing now? Sorry about that. So underscore put cha. It is in this organization I wanted to check for, not in this repo. So I'm sure you'll be given you'll be directed to this underscore pucha.c file where you have the program that is used to that is just, this one is just mimicking that normal pucha function that you have in your standard library, but this one is an underscore pucha. This one is a user defined function. I don't know, for those that were here, I think day for yesterday we talked about different type of functions. We have the user defined function and we have the library function. This is an example of a user defined function, because it is written by the user. The normal pucha function, it doesn't really look like this, but so all I need here is I need the prototype of the function, which is this. So I'm just going to copy it and paste it here. So use my semicolon to end that particular line. So this is all my header file need to contain. The header file must contain the declaration of any function that was being used, any user defined function that was being used. If it is a standard function, if it is a library function, all you just need to do is just to include the header file on the inside the program. Inside the program where you use the function, right? So I'm just going to save this. You can see, if you should go back, if you should cut the main.c file, you can see they included this main.h, which is the user defined header file. That's why we are wrapping it with semicolon. because what they use this print alphabet function, which is a user-defined function. It has been declared inside this main.h. So we always need to what? To include what? The header file where we declared any function we are using inside our program. Okay, so that's said. So now, in essence, what you really need is this alphabet.c and what? Main.h. Okay, now we've written the program that prints this. Okay, we are not actually done. If I should vi back into this alphabet.c, like I said, we use this underscore pucha function. We also need to include what? The header file where this underscore pucha function was being declared. So, and the header file is, anybody? Include, what am I including here? Anybody?
Main.
Yeah, main.h. Thank you very much. Because what? It was inside the main.h that we declared what? We added the put type of this what? This underscore pucha function. So we have what? Main.h here. We did not use any library function. Those we don't need to include any standard library or anything, because what? We did not use any library function. The only function we use was underscore pucha function. It is not a library function. The library function is just pucha. Okay, it doesn't have underscore. All right, so I'm just going to save. Oh, sorry about that. I'm just going to save this. So in Xsense, for that particular task, the only files you need to push to GitHub is just what? This alphabet.c file and this what? Main.h file. But if you want to compile your program, in order for you to know that what? This program you've written in this particular file is working and it is giving you the what? The required output. If you should look at the example, that box where I got what? Where I got the content of this main.c file. You know, they normally run the what? They use the gcc command to show you the what? The expected results. Just make sure this ALX is not add. Okay, use that use that example box as what? As an int to what you are expected to get. Their ALX will always give you an expected output. It's not for you to program, for you to write your code in such a way that you get that same what? That same output. Okay, following the what? The requirement. The requirement says you should use underscore pucha function. Don't go and use the pucha function. All right. So for us to test this program, we are going to need all the files of every function that was being used. Inside this alphabet.c, let me cut it out again. Inside this alphabet.c, we use the pucha function, but we did not have any file that this pucha function was being defined. So definitely we need to actually create a file for what? For this function, for us to define this function inside. So I think they told us to use pucha, they use underscore pucha.c, right? All you just need to do is to create a new file called underscore pucha.c. Then what? Copy the content of what? Of what you have on GitHub here. Inside what? Inside the file. Okay. I don't want to explain what this is doing, but this is just what? This is a program that what? That prints a character to the standard output. That's a single character. So I'm just going to save this. Yeah.
You said you don't want to explain what is doing. Please explain it.
I'm actually treating debugging, how to debug. I don't want to waste our time explaining the program, a code. You can just look at the code yourself to understand what they're actually using. A function, a write function that is present in this library, in this standard library. This write function is used to what? To write a single character. This is actually it takes in what? 3 arguments. The first one is the file descriptor, and this one is the address to that character that you want to print, and this one is the what? Is the length of that character, which is what? Which is just a single character. This one is a file descriptor. File descriptor, and what I mean is is it standard output, is it standard error, or is it I've forgotten the third one now. standard input, standard output, and I think it's standard error or something like that. But one signify what standard output if you are sending something to the standard output. Okay, but I don't really want to bore us really on this, on what this, on the explanation of what of this program. That's not actually the scope of this. If you want to understand, you can then you can decide to research on this. I think this, yeah, I've really forgotten what we have 10 and I think -1 or something, but you can then research on what file descriptors are. Okay, so where was I? Yes, I was saying that the reason why we needed to we need this file is because we want to add the definition of of the underscore pusher function inside here, inside this file. And the reason why we are adding this file is because we use the underscore pusher function inside this alphabet.c file. So in essence, if you are compiling any program, okay, the entry point of all your program is the main function, and the main function is being defined inside a file called main.c. I hope you guys are getting me. The reason why we need this, the reason why we need that, and the reason why we need this one. So the reason why we need this is the entry file, this main.c, because inside this main.c is where we have the main function, which is the entry point of any compilation process. Now, without the main, if you just decide to use the gcc command on just the alphabet.c file, it will never go. The first thing you will get, okay, we have some errors though, but I will talk about the error. Okay, let's just fix this error since we are actually debugging. Now we have some errors in this file. This is what we call the compilation error. Okay, the compiler error. But if we should use Betty, let's try to use Betty on that file first. Oh, we did not actually obey Betty. Impressive. I have some errors here. So we have a warning on line 9. Let's just quickly fix this. I have some errors here. So bi alphabet.c. So what did I do wrong? On line 9, I think I started with a space. On line 10, I started with a space. So where is line 9? Oh, that was my mistake. I did not backspace this thing back. I think line 10 to, and I think line 11 as well, line 18. Let me just quickly fix this. Okay, that was my bad. Okay, that was my bad. I think this should actually solve this. Oh, let me open it back. So we just come here. Let me clear this and run Betty again. Okay, the errors are reduced. So we have on line 13, they say required space is required before the opening parentheses. Okay, now also we did not actually talk about this when you are dealing with Betty. Okay, I think on line 13 space is required before the opening parentheses. That's if you are writing a this is a for loop. Okay, it is not really a function, right? For a loop, for a function, the parentheses is together with with the name. But for a statement, let me just say this is a statement. There should always be a space before the This is just a way to differentiate between a function and a statement. This is just a for loop or a for statement, a loop statement. All right, that's why we have this error at line 13. We also have a trailing statement should be on the next line. Okay, I think the reason is because of, okay, let me just save this file now, :w, and come back here, run Betty again. We have a trailing statement should be on the next line. let me see. And also line 18, warning, adding a line without new line at the end of the file. Okay, now for every C program, for Betty, you always need to end your program with a new line. That means add an additional line at the end of the line. That's where this error is coming from at line 18, because we did not actually end this with a new line like this. There should be an extra line or something like that, but I believe so. So I think, let me quickly fix this error here. I think the error is coming from here. It's because I used this. Okay, so let's run Betty again. We still have this thing on line 13. So like I explained, for this one, they said adding a line without new line at the end of the file. So every file must end with a new line. Just put an additional line after your code, after your program. I think ALX always put it in their general requirement that all line must end with a new line. I think the reason for this is because of this. Let me change this thing back to comma. Okay, colon W. I've saved this, and then let's go back to here and see. Okay, sweet. Now for this error, they said for every statement, where anywhere you include a semicolon, okay, that means it is the end of the statement. But initially, I didn't know Betty was going to complain because of this semicolon that is here. Betty is able to say that the syntax of a for loop requires us to write it like this. Okay, that's from line 13 to line 16 is everything about a for loop. This is the syntax of a for loop. But me adding a semicolon here, which means I'm saying that this is the end of the statement. But it wasn't able to sense, it doesn't recognize what this is. That's why it was saying that let me save the file again. Escape, colon W, then come back here and run Betty again. It wasn't able to, it was saying that our trailing statement should be on the new line, because Betty is able to sense that for a for loop, it continued here. But me adding this semicolon, which means that that is the end of this statement. So it's trying to state that our trailing statement was be on a new line. But this is not it is all together. This thing is taken as like a single line or something like that. So the reason for that is because of this terminator, that semicolon that I used to terminate that particular statement. So if I should save this now, so we've actually what's your problem? Undo. I get rid of this one, colon W, escape, colon W to save. So let me run a Betty again just to be sure that we've obeyed Betty. Now let's go to the compiler error. So what I mean is when you run a GCC compiler on any file, in essence, we are going to get some kind of errors. Now the way we read Betty error is different. Betty will only signify the line number of that particular file. But for a compiler, it will signify the line number and the position where the error is coming from. That means in this particular file, alphabet.c, at line 13, at the 51st position, that's the 51st character on that particular line 13, we have an error that says that expected semicolon before this parenthesis token. That's at line 13. There's an error that says that sometimes it is the error that you get is not always precise or accurate. It doesn't really mean that, but it is. If you should look at that very line, what do you think is wrong with this line exactly? The line will be produced for you to look at. This is what the error is coming from at line 13. But it says that there's something wrong here. That means it's expecting a semicolon. But meanwhile, it is not a semicolon that should be here. You already know a syntax of a for loop. A for loop should end with this. You don't put a semicolon after the what? The update, that's the increment. So let's go back to the file now. If you should look closely at this line 13, you can see there's something wrong somewhere. You know, for a for loop, we have what? 3 expressions. That's the initialization, the condition. This is the initialization, the condition, and the what? And the update, which is either increment or decrement. Then we have the what? The block statement. That's the block code. If you should look at here, for every what? For every expression, you need to terminate with the what? With a semicolon. I use a comma here. For every expression, I need to terminate it with a semicolon. That means what? This is a statement, this is another statement, this is another statement. So that is why the error is throwing at what? At this particular line 13. But in a real sense, it is not, it is expecting a semicolon, but it is saying that it's expecting a semicolon here. But meanwhile, this is where the semicolon should be after the what? The initialization of what? That variable. Okay, so I'm just going to fix that. So let me remove it and put a semicolon, and let me save this and then go back here and run the what? The GCC again. You can see I don't have any error again on line 13. The next error is now on line 33. I mean on line 15 at the 33rd position. They said is expecting a semicolon before the what? Before this the closing tag parenthesis. That means here. Now for every statement, you always need to terminate your what? You always need to terminate the statement with what? With semicolon, which signifies what? The end of that particular what? Statement. I hope you understand where this is coming from. Okay, so if I should go back here at that line 15, you can see I don't have any semicolon here. So I just need to what? To fix that. But Betty did not complain about this particular line 15. You can see Betty is different from what? Betty error is different from what? Compiler error. All right, so let's move on. So I'm just going to run the GCC again. Now the next error, okay, let me clear my screen so we can look at it from the beginning again. Okay, so the next error now is that what? Is at line 17. They said warning, passing argument 1. Passing argument 1 of underscore pucha make integer from pointer without what? Without cast. Now for this underscore pucha function, we are actually what? Using it to print character. Now how do you, let me ask a question, how do you identify a character from I don't want to say it. Okay, let me just, is this a character? How do you identify a character? Yeah, that's the question. How do you identify a character? You understand that? Okay, is this a character?
Yes.
Yes.
And okay, is this a character?
No.
Why? What's the difference
No,
between
that's
this and
the
this?
character is in a single quote.
Thank you very much. What do you use double quote for?
String.
Yeah,
Double quote is for
yeah, thank you very much. Double quote is used for string and a single quote is used for character. Okay, this is why this thing is throwing an error, because what? This picture prints character, it doesn't print string. So it's trying to identify this one as a string, meanwhile it should be a character. So we need to what? To wrap it with what? With the single quote. Okay, that's fixed that. So let me save this now. Let's go back to our GCC. Let me clear my screen again. You can see we don't have any kind of error, but this one we are having some kind of gibberish stuff. Now, like when I explained that what for every compilation process, the entry point will always be your what? Your main function. This is where you get this kind of error, undefined reference to main, because where you couldn't find the starting. You can see the start is supposed to be what? Main. You couldn't find main function inside this file. That's why it's showing this error. So although you might have pushed your code, this file, to GitHub and the checker checked it fine, But if you now want to compile to see if you get the required output, what they are expecting, you realize that what you are having this kind of error. The reason is because what you don't have the main function. So that's why we need to what to create that what main.c file and copy the content from that what example box provided under that particular task. Okay, and now that we have the main.c file, right? So if you are not trying to compile now, you need to compile that file together with the main.c file, so that GDC, this compiler, will be able to sense that the entry point, the compiler will go inside this file first before it can go and check inside this file. So let's run this. We are still going to get an error because there is no undefined reference to underscore pucha. The reason is because inside this alphabet.c we use the underscore pucha function. So it wasn't able to reference anywhere that we defined this underscore pucha function. That's why we need this underscore pucha file together with with all the files we are going to compile. So the real compilation should be, we also need the underscore pucha file for us to completely compile this program together. In essence, the compiler will go inside the main.c file, right? So inside the main.c, let me save this one. Let me come and cut the main.c here. Main.c. Now, when the compiler enter the main.c, the compiler is entering the main.c because we have the main function inside that file, right? So inside the main function, which is the entry point, it will call this function, and this function, it will look at did you include the header where this function did you include the header file where this function is being declared. If he is able to sense that you included it, okay, yes, it will go inside the main.h file and see whether you without this main.h, this program will still throw another error because this function, you will get implicit declaration of a function. That's the kind of error you will get. Okay, let's try to get, instead of just saying and saying and saying, let me go inside that file and remove remove that no, don't let me remove that header file. Remove this header. Okay, let me save this. Control W. Let me go and run the main.c file. This main.c. You can see you have an error that says that implicit declaration of a particular function. If you don't include the header file where you declare a particular function you are using in a program, that's where you get this kind of error that says that implicit declaration of a function. It wasn't able to find where you declare this function. That's what it's saying. Okay, so that's why we need to always include the header file where the function prototype is being added or declared. Okay, let me undo this and we save it. Okay, that is that about that. So let me just escape this. So I was explaining something before.
What is the shortcut for undo?
Shortcut for what? Undo. You use U to undo in VI, as long as you are still inside that VI interface. But once you leave there, you won't be able to undo again once you save and quit.
No.
All right, so now, like I was saying, so once the GDC enter this file to call this function, it will look at the header file. Okay, you declare it inside the header file. Okay, correct. Then to go inside where you have, it will look for where you defined this print alphabet.c. Where do we define this print alphabet.c? It is inside this alphabet.c file. That's where we define the function. So inside this function now, is now going to run everything you have here. Before it finish running, it will now look at, okay, we use another function called underscore pucha. Okay, did we add the header file where okay, yes, we added it. Okay, where is this file being being defined? It is, where is this function being defined? It is inside this underscore pucha.c file. That's why when we try to, where is that one? When we try to compile the program without having, when we try to compile without having that underscore pucha file along with what the compilation command line, it's true there an error that says I was undefined reference to what the underscore pucha function. Okay, so in essence, we need all the file of every definition of all the function that was being used in any program that we are trying to what to run. So that's why in essence, when we are compiling, we compile with what? With all the files present that has the definition of any function that was being used. So the first thing, the GCC will go inside the main.c, then to come out and go inside the what? The alphabet.c, because that's where we have the what? This alphabet function, this print alphabet function. So inside this print alphabet function, we use another function called what? Underscore pucha. Then GC will now go inside there to what? To check what this is doing before it actually what? Run this particular what line. Okay. Then before it's now what? Print those letters for us. If we should run this now, without if we did not make mistake in the code we wrote, this should give us A to Z without any kind of issue. But there is a problem. Okay, there is a problem. Now, inside the main.c file at line 1, we use include. Oh, there is no hash. That was my fault. So let me go to the main.c file here. So we can see, okay, I use include instead of, you can see, even from the error, you can even see from the error. It says that this, sometimes the error message is not always accurate. It will just suggest, it is just an expectation. You can see it's saying that expected is equal to comma, semicolon, ASM, blah, 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 blah. It did not even specify the main thing that it is expecting. It's not left for you to be able to see that, oh, there's something missing here. When you are trying to include, you use hash include. That's what you use, okay? So let me just fix this and put the hash, sorry, then save this file. Let me go back and recompile and see whether, so I've cleared my screen. So if everything is good, this thing should run and give us an output. So okay, let me specify where I want the output of this file to be. Let me specify it as what? F. Okay, so it actually compiled successfully without an error. So we have the what? The executable file that contains what? The result of what? Of our compilation of this program. And when compiling, we don't need to compile this main.h. We only need to compile, we only compile our what? Our .c file. This main.h will be automatically sent by this compiler as long as it is inside the same directory where you are compiling from. I repeat, this main.h file will be automatically be sensed by the compiler as long as what? This main.h is present in the same directory that we are compiling from, we are running the compilation from. Okay, let's do another test run. Let me remove that half file back. Let me move this main.h outside. Let me move it outside. Okay, currently we don't have a main.h, but we want to compile. Let's see. It should give us error because what it's trying to say that what? No such file or directory. So that's why in essence we don't need to add what? The main.h file with what? When compiling our program, just make sure that our header file is present in the same directory where we are compiling our program from. Okay, so let me move that file back. Main.h, I think main.h dot. Okay, don't worry about what I'm doing. So I've already moved it back. So if we should compile again, I should have my what? My executable file called what? F. So if I should run this executable file, I should get what? A to Z. Voila. And we've come to, I hope you guys understand what I just did. But as far as this very task is concerned, your ALS task, the only files that you need is the name of the file that you were asked to write. You will have to solve the file into, and this what? This main.h. You don't need to push this main.c and this underscore pucha.c to GitHub. Okay, even though you have it here, you can decide, you can actually not push them. There's a way to do that. So I'm going to give you guys an assignment to go and watch this video on our GitHub. Sorry, I keep saying GitHub. On our YouTube channel, CodeTribe, called what? How to ignore certain files in Git using the .git ignore file. So you can use the .git ignore file to ignore this main.c and this _pucha.c files, so that it will not be pushed to GitHub. Only those that you did not add to that .git ignore file that will be pushed to GitHub. So I'm going to paste the link of this along with the link of this video, this section recording on the group chat. But if you are currently watching this video, just make sure to go to the CodeTribe channel video list and look for how to ignore certain files in Git and watch the video, so that you won't populate your GitHub with unnecessary files. Whether you push it or you don't push it, it doesn't concern the checker. All the checker want to see is the file that you were asked to write you were asked to solve the task into, and your header file that was being that is part of the requirements that you need to include all the function prototype inside. I hope that is clear.
Yes, thank you so much.
What's with the side?
It's not been easy. I spent, I think, 2 days trying to understand the whole main.h compilation
Okay.
process.
Okay.
So yeah.
And I'm just using the GDC. Okay, I'm sure ALS gave you to use the GDC -wall and some other -extra or something like that. I think, don't worry about all of this. All these ones, they are just option flags. Okay, they are just option. They are used to catch some warnings. I said option flags, sorry about that. They are warning flags. Actually, they are used to catch some warnings, some kind of there are some syntax that some of this option does not obey, that just running the GDC will allow you to pass. Okay, but if I'm using some options like Wextra, there are some old version of writing C program that even better will allow you to go, but that flag will not allow you to go, but it's allowed to just use ordinary GDC and then get along with that. But don't just, as far as ALS is concerned, use the whole I think it's pendatic -std is equal to norm 89. Yeah, this is the full. Just make sure you use this. Okay, let's try to use this and see whether we have any kind of error. So main.c and _pucha.c. Let's send the output into another file called result. Oh, we are actually good. This flag did not sense any kind of, we did not actually do any kind of we did not commit any kind of coding blunder. Okay, so if I should run okay, let me press lists now. I have results here. Let me now execute the results. I should have my ABC to Z. All right, so now, even though you passed Betty checks, okay, you Betty the file, okay, Betty allowed you obeyed Betty, you compiled the file, you got the expected result. But when you ran the checker, to your surprise, you did not, checker was the checks did not run completely. Like maybe 1 or 2 or 3 of the checks were still red. That's probably because it did not follow the requirements specified in the task. Let's say, for instance, inside this alphabet.c, you were asked to use _pucha function. Inside this alphabet.c, you were asked to use _pucha function, but mind you, you went ahead and used the pucha function. You went ahead and used just the pucha function from the standard library. So I'm just going to change this to, so I'm just going to include, I just want to verify for you to see what I'm saying instead of just saying it. So, sorry about that. So in the question specified that you should use underscore pucha function, and you were given the function, but you went ahead and used pucha from the standard library. You know that if you should run this program, it will still compile. Let me use another file, output, called output. Okay, it will still compile. You can see it did not show any kind of error. You can see I have output. If I should run the output, I'm still going to get the same results, but the checker will not allow you to go because you did not follow the requirement of that task that has to use underscore pucha function instead of pucha function. So you just need to be careful with what you're saying. So there are 3 different kind of scenarios that you can encounter error from: the Betty, the compiler, and the checker, due to what requirement. And also the requirement might not even be from the program. Okay, let's say you even used everything that has to use. You follow the Betty, you follow the compiler, you use the requirements. But in the general requirements, you are always stated to add a readme file to your directory. Probably you do not do that. Just make sure that you follow all the requirements being specified in the task so that you won't run into kind of this bugs. Probably the checker error. Mostly where people find the difficulty is always the checker error. And even from the checker error, you know when you started ALX, you always be provided with this see details dialog in order for you to know where exactly you got it wrong. But now you just be giving the checks, you just be giving green and red. You won't know what exactly probably you have about, let's say, 20 checks. One of those 20 probably at check, let's say check 15 was green, the other ones was red. You don't know what check 15 is. So you just need to be careful. Just make sure that you go through the requirements. If you are sure that Betty allowed you to go, your code was able to compile, but the checker did not allow you to go, just look at the requirements. Look at what they asked to do. Probably they asked to return 0 and you went and returned 1. Probably they asked to use printf, you went and used put s. Stuff like that. So at this junction, I would like to round up this section. So before I go, any question? My battery is on 7%. Wow, impressive. Any question before I go? And I hope we all understand what I've been saying since, and hope I've not been talking to myself. So let me check. I think I have a question on my chat box. Okay, Gabriel Hagara, I hope that is your name. You can unmute your mic and ask a question.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I have a little issue on this same topic that we're trying to treat.
Okay.
From the project that we have here, I think number 2 and number 3, we are asked to create a main.c. And from the onset, I've already created a main.c file. But in the second question, I'm still asked to create it again. So I want to know, am I supposed to create another one, or am I supposed to maintain the one I have there already?
You don't even need, just like I say, the main.c files. You don't need you only need the main.c file for you to know that the program you are writing inside, like now this question that I just saw was to write what's the name of the question again? Write a function that prints the alphabet in lower cases. That's just a question followed by a new line. I've already solved the question inside this file. Then I've added the prototype of that question inside this main.h. So the only 2 files I need to push for the checker to run successfully is just this alphabet.c and the main.h. Now the main.c file, you'll be given the content of the main.c file. Probably from the very first task, you have 1-main.c, 2-main.c. In the second task, in the third task, you have 3-main.c. That's how ALX named the main.c files. So the main.c file is just to for you to be, they are just like test files, so that you'll be able to run your program and see that you are getting the expected results. Just like I mentioned in that example box, you'll be given the kind of output to expect, the kind of output they want. So the main.c file you are going to be creating, it will be different for every task. 1 dash main dot c is for tax 1, 2 dash main dot c is for tax 2, and so on and so forth. So that's how you'll be adding those files inside your local terminal, inside on the terminal, as long as you want to see, you want to be able to compile your program. Please give me a minute, let me quickly plug my system. It is going to hibernate very soon. Yeah. Please. Okay, sorry about that. So as I was saying, so the main.c is just for you to be able to compile your program and see that your actual result is the same thing as the expected result on the intranet. So you don't really need to push the main.c, but it is required as long as you want to compile your program, just like I did here. Without this main.c, this compiler will not run the program for me. Do you understand? Hello, is Gabriel still here? Ah, shit. My network cut me off. Sorry about that.
Purpose the main.h steps. Do you know what purpose it says?
Yeah, hello?
I think
Yeah, Mr. Bigby is back.
Yeah, sorry
Mr.
about
Bigby is back.
that.
Let's listen.
When
Okay.
I went to plug my system, the Wi-Fi got disconnected. I hope you guys can still hear me.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, Gabriel,
Okay.
have you, I think Oluwasegun was trying to explain the essence of the main.c file to him, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was asking him to be sure that he knows what the main.h file is what about.
Oh, okay,
Okay,
okay.
So
sir.
I want him. Yeah,
What I was
explain.
saying. Okay, what I was saying in essence is that I have the main.h file already on my folder. But going down to the next question, which is question 2 and question 3, I'm still asked to create that same file, main.h. So
Yes.
I'm not asking. Okay.
Okay,
No,
for
I'm
the
I want to ask you now. What
okay.
purpose does that main.h file serves?
I think the main.h file is supposed to hold some of the prototypes of my code, right?
Exactly.
So
The
Okay.
since I've
prototype
already
functions.
Yes.
yes, it's supposed to hold my function. So I'm wondering, since I've already declared some function from the first one here, from the first question, what am I supposed to be doing inside the main.h that I have in question 2 and then question 3 here?
Okay,
Once you have.
okay, go on.
Okay.
Okay, let me just quickly wrap it up. Okay,
Yeah.
for every tax, okay, like for instance, the this tax we just did now, I created a
Yes.
main.h and I included the prototype function for this function that I've written for the, okay, let me just be into the main.h for you to see now. So now I have the prototype of the print alphabet and the prototype of the of the underscore putcher, because I use this underscore putcher inside this print alphabet or function. Now for the next task, if the next task is saying that I should write a function that had 2 integers, so all you just need to do, you don't need to create another main.h, you've already created it. You just need to update the main.h file and include the prototype function of the next question. The next question is going to be, for my next question is add 2 integers. Probably the prototype function is, the prototype I was given was void. I just need to update it with the prototype I was given, void add probably I was given int A, int B, then close it. That's all. Update it, then save it, and when I'm done with the with the function, when I've written the function inside the specific file I was told to do, I just need to push draft file and the main.h back to GitHub. Just push your changes to GitHub. Do you understand now? You just keep updating the main.h file for every word, for every task. Do you get, Gabriel?
Okay, sir. Yes. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much. And
All
mind,
right.
just like I said, don't forget to watch the video recording, the video on how to ignore some certain files. Like the main.c file is not needed on your GitHub. The underscore pucha.c file is not needed on your GitHub. Just make sure to watch this video on how to ignore certain files on Git on the Code Tribe channel. So at this juncture, I would like to wrap it up on debugging. So if you have further questions, you can use the WhatsApp group chat to query your question. Just tag me at the Gafar. You can tag the mentor. You can even tag our boss man here, top man. He's always available 247 for your questions. So thank you very much once again for attending this section. For those watching this section, this recording anyways, make sure to like, subscribe, and share our video to others out there that is going to be helpful too. So thank you very much. My name is Abiodun once again. Happy coding, guys.